Beginning in a dark room, and we can be seen, but there is a lot of grain to the image. We found that it looks as though we are in a Disco 2 with weird light changes, which I imagine is the auto white balance trying to configure itself, but either way, it's not good. When we sat down and didn't move around, then this didn't happen, so movement seems to play a big factor in this. Using natural light is an improvement as you would expect, but there is a slight green hue to the overall image. Movement is looking good, and it looks as though we are getting the full 30 frames per second that the V3 is capable of. Using a small ring light brings further improvements to the overall image. By default, it has a 95-degree field of view, so a lot of your background is going to be on display, but it does come equipped with a button where you can zoom up to 4 times. We will speak more about this shortly. Having 2 larger ring lights in front of us, and the automatic exposure settings really do struggle with this, but you can go into settings in software like OBS and untick the box to manually configure it, and you will end up with a really good result. So I would recommend playing with the exposure to suit your own environment. Using a green screen in OBS, and it wasn't too bad at removing it, but we do suffer with a lot of overexposure on our face, so your lighting setup will need to be on point. Switching to manual exposure gave us a much better image on our face, but there is a lot more pixelation at the bottom, so be prepared to play around with lighting to improve things. As this is a fixed lens, then you will need to be over 8 inches or so away for things to be in focus. If you come any closer, then expect blurring to the image. Both the 1440 and 1080p are going to bring you a good looking image, but we did notice a slight change in the colour when we switched to 1080, with us looking as though we've got a tan. We'll definitely take that. Zooming can be done by tapping the top of the webcam, which is going to be useful if you prefer to have a much more narrow field of view, but do expect a loss in quality the more that you zoom in. This worked great in Zoom, it also worked great in Discord, but it didn't work in OBS for some reason, with us being stuck on the standard view. It comes with dual omnidirectional microphones, and to get the best performance, then you will need to install the Smartcomms kit. This software allows you to remove background noise and turn off the microphone when you're not speaking. This is what your microphones are going to sound like without the Smartcomms kit being enabled. This is what it sounds like when we enable the voice detect. Everything is set on auto, but it will turn off the microphone after 2 seconds. And this is what your microphones are going to sound like when you have noise clean out enabled. We're going to keep on talking while we got the noise clean out disabled, so you get an idea of how well the noise clean out actually performs. The noise clean out has now been enabled. This is the kind of audio you can expect if you've got a vacuum cleaner in the background. This is the audio you can get when the noise clean out is manually configured and set on low. This is the kind of audio you can expect if you've got a vacuum cleaner in the background or your noise clean out set on high. The Smartcomms kit also allows you to play around with various camera settings to tweak your overall image, so if you don't use software like OBS, then you can change the settings in here. The mixer settings let you adjust the volume of the microphone and play around with the balance. You can get a good looking image from the V3, but you will want to manually play around with the settings to fine tune it. It's tripod mountable, and the head can be tilted slightly and rotated a full 360 degrees. But is it much of an upgrade over the V2? The video on screen now will show you.